The monster morgue. Bodies of Ian Brady and Manchester bomber Salman Abedi still lie in the same mortuary because undertakers refuse to touch them. The bodies of Moors murderer Ian Brady and Manchester bomber Salman Abedi are still lying in the same mortuary, as undertakers refuse to bury them. Cemeteries and crematoriums also want nothing to do with the two, leaving them inside the monster morgue just outside the Greater Manchester boundary. The location is being kept under wraps through fears that members of the public could try to take revenge and defile the bodies. Muslim leaders across the northeast have refused to bless the body of Abedi, after he slaughtered 22 in a suicide bomb attack at a Ariana Grande concert on May 22. Meanwhile, a coroner ordered Brady's body remain in police custody until it was confirmed his ashes would not be scattered on Saddleworth Moors. He and lover Myra Hindley murdered and buried several of their victims of the Moors, with the body of Keith Bennett, 12, still not found. A source told the Daily Star, the pair of them are effectively in limbo. Funeral directors don't want them. No crematorium wants to process them. In the meantime they are stuck in monster morgue. It may give some tiny crumb of comfort to relatives and friends, that they are in anonymous purgatory. Brady died in a high-security hospital at the age of 79, after contracting a lung and chest condition in December. He killed 5 children with his lover Myra Hindley, and right up to his death, refused to tell the families of his victims where he had buried them. Their victims including Pauline Reed, 16, who was raped and beaten before she was killed, John Kilbride, 12, who was strangled and buried in a shallow grave, and Keith Bennett, also 12, whose body was never found and the method of his death never known. The final 2 victims were 10-year-old Leslie Ann Downey and 17-year-old Edward Evans, who was bludgeoned with an axe. Brady was jailed for 3 murders in 1966 and was at Ashworth Hospital in Merseyside since 1985. He and Hindley later confessed to another 2 killings. He campaigned for several years to be moved from the secure unit to a Scottish prison so he could not be force-fed, as at Ashworth, and where he would have been allowed to die had he wished. Abedi killed 22 when he detonated a suicide bomb after an Ariana Grande gig in Manchester Arena earlier this month. The singer had just left the stage when the bomber set off his explosive as people were leaving the venue. The youngest victim was just 8 years old. Safi Rose Rousas, aged just 8, from Tarleton, Lancashire, was at the concert with her mother Lisa Rousas and half-sister Ashley Bromwich, 25, who were both taken to different hospitals after being hit by flying shrapnel. Courtney Boyle, 19, and her stepfather Philip Traun, 32, both from Gateshead, Tyne, and Ware, lost their lives in the attack. Ailey MacLeod, 14, died from her injuries after attending the gig with best friend Laura McIntyre, who was also hurt in the attack. Martin Hett's family said the public relations manager left the world as he lived in it, as the center of attention. They revealed he had been about to travel to the USA on a 2-month adventure holiday. Safi Rose Rousas, aged just 8, from Tarleton, Lancashire, was at the concert with her mother Lisa Rousas and half-sister Ashley Bromwich, 25, who were both taken to different hospitals after being hit by flying shrapnel. Courtney Boyle, 19, and her stepfather Philip Traun, 32, both from Gateshead, Tyne, and Ware, lost their lives in the attack. Ailey MacLeod, 14, died from her injuries after attending the gig with best friend Laura McIntyre, who was also hurt in the attack. Martin Hett's family said the public relations manager left the world as he lived in it, as the center of attention. They revealed he had been about to travel to the USA on a 2-month adventure holiday. Kelly Brewster died when she flung herself over her sister Claire Booth, 44, and 11-year-old Holly, protecting them from the full force of the explosion. Relatives said that the 32-year-old civil servant and her partner Ian Winslow, 36, had been planning to have children of their own and had just bought a house. Elaine McKeever, a Cheshire police officer, was killed as she enjoyed a night off, going to the concert with her husband and children. Young couple Chloe Rutherford, 17, and Liam Curry, 19, who were inseparable, were killed on May 22. Their families said they wanted to be together forever. Michelle Kiss, a mother of 3, who ran a scaffolding business with her husband, was also one of the dead. She was described as a loving wife to Tony, mother to Dylan, Elliot, and Millie, as well as daughter to Mick and Christine and sister to Nicola. Nell Jones, 14, became one of the 22 victims just hours after posting a selfie on Snapchat with the caption, "Ariana Grande now X." The farmer's daughter traveled to the pop concert, the first she had ever attended, with her best friend Freya Lewis, who suffered terrible injuries. John Atkinson, 26, from Radcliffe, Greater Manchester, was leaving the concert when the explosion happened. Wendy Foyle, from Otley, West Yorkshire, a school worker, was reported to have been about to leave the concert with her 15-year-old daughter Charlotte, along with a friend and her sons, when they were caught in the attack. Olivia Campbell had texted her boyfriend, "I'm having so much fun," just 30 minutes before she became one of the 22 victims. Sixth form student Georgina Callender, 18, from Chorley, Lancashire, was the first victim of the atrocity to be named. She'd met the singer previously and said she would never get over it. Earlier this month, police revealed they do not believe Abedi acted alone, and also think he carried his bomb around the city for several hours before detonating it. It is believed that Abedi started building the detonator in a workshop at his family's address in Fallowfield in South Manchester. He is understood to have finished off the device in a second flat. The bomber left the UK for Libya on April 15 and returned on May 18.